reality television talent competitions. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on them. Some people say they're trashy. Some people say they're rigged. Some people say they only watch for the talent. Some people say it's all about the sob stories. Some people say it's entertaining. Some people say it's a great opportunity for performers. I'm here to tell you today that I genuinely believe reality television talent competitions are dangerous. Now, you might be hovering over your keyboard, ready to tell me at this point that you know that they're rigged and that you've got inside information, or that, they signed the contract at the end, but they knew at the start what the terms would be. Or it's their own fault for not looking into it beforehand. I'm not going to be speaking about any of that. I'm not going to be speaking about whether they're rigged or whether they make up sob stories or any of that sort of stuff. If that's the case, it's pretty lame. It's pretty bad. It's not good at all. But those things are accusations and allegations. I have no proof. I'm not going to go looking for proof. It's got nothing to do with my argument. I mean, if you know things, feel free to comment below. But again, that's not what I'm going to be talking about at all. So before I get into the meat of my actual argument, I'm just going to give you a little bit of context because it's quite important. And honestly, I believe it's become very fuzzy for people nowadays. And I really do blame reality television talent competitions for at least some of this. Performing, and specifically musical performance, is quite different to other fields. There are three main goals. Goal number one, connection. That's definitely the most important goal, connection with your audience. Then there's also storytelling and emotions. You want to be able to paint a picture, take people through the story of the song, and you want to be transferring emotions. You want to make them happy or sad. They need to be feeling something by the end of the song, right? And that, in its essence, is an experience. Delivering a performance is delivering an experience. Whether you play particularly quickly or hit particularly high notes or whatever it is you're doing is actually just part of delivering an experience. One is not better than the other. They're just different experiences. And some people will gravitate to certain experiences. Some people will gravitate to other ones, depending on your mood or what time of day it is or what sort of event you're at or whatever. You may gravitate to a certain experience that you wouldn't otherwise normally gravitate towards. And I mean, in general, people get successful within the realm of performing arts because people enjoy an experience and they want to come back and have it again, and this builds up. It's not about one act being better than another. Again, very different to other fields. Say, take for example, sports. In sports, you have people that are trying to get more points, run faster, jump higher, or jump further. There is a very clearly discernible criteria that you can use to judge whether one competitor is better than another. And competitor is really far more appropriate for that field. Even in the academic realm, you've got an exam and you're trying to get as many marks as possible. You're trying to answer as many questions correctly as possible or meet as many criteria within the syllabus. And there's a more easily discernible criteria where you can judge whether someone gets a higher result or a lower result. And this again is far more suitable. You can have competitions based on exams and tests to see who gets higher results. With performing arts, it's far more complicated. And this is something that I personally believe makes the performing arts fundamentally incompatible with competitions, full stop. But competitions are crazy prevalent within the performing arts. Ever since I was a little kid, I remember attending a Stedfords and, the school talent competition, the local mall would have a star quest or whatever. They're always around. So does that mean that competitions in general are toxic and a bad idea? Well, in general, as I said, I don't believe that they're compatible really with the performing arts, but I do believe that they can be held in certain ways that make them more or less beneficial. With reality television talent competitions, however, I believe they're kind of structuring it in the worst way possible for the future of the performing arts. And this is really where my main argument is. I genuinely believe that reality television talent competitions are conditioning people to judge performances rather than experience them. This is the most important part of this video. Conditioning, mass conditioning. Huge numbers of people, everyone watching the show is getting conditioned to judge a performance rather than experience it. That is because the main content is not actually the talent. I genuinely hate it when people say, I watch for the talent, because it freaking drives me nuts. No, you don't. If you really watched for the talent, you would be going on YouTube and watching performances or going to concerts. You would not be watching those shows. You're watching for the drama. That's how they get you in, and they know that that's how they get you in. It's a psychological response. It strokes your ego when you watch people being judged and you feel like you are in that position where you too can judge. And this in and of itself is not terrible. It's a great way to get views and ratings, but it is very horrible for the future of the performing arts industry. It's horrible because nowadays people are not able to watch a performance and experience it like they used to. Now they watch a performance and they judge it. And often on criteria 1, that they don't understand, 2, that doesn't exist, so I mean it's pretty hard to understand it, and 3, that they're absolutely not qualified to judge even if it did exist. So in reality, you're kind of empowering people with a non-existent power to judge performances, which is stealing from them the experiences that they could otherwise gain. Now I'm going to give a few examples of this. The first example I am going to give is from my personal experience. And this one is something I'm sure you'll see more and more of if you start paying attention to it. When I was much, much younger, and these sort of shows didn't exist, I remember performing at a pub when I was 14 years old. I don't know whether I'm aging myself here or not, but honestly I shouldn't have been. They shouldn't allow 14-year-olds into pubs in the first place, but I was. And people would come up afterwards and they'd talk to me about where they first heard the songs I'm singing, and memories they have of hearing those songs and what those songs mean to them. Those were the conversations I was having as a musician with my audience in the breaks. I mean, there was a little bit of drunken rambling, but most of all, those were the sort of conversations I was having. Not too long ago, I was doing cover gigs for a living, and by geez, people have changed. People would come up, and the most common sort of comments would be along the lines of, oh, you're good, you should go on Idol, or someone's got talent or a voice, or whatever it is. There were people coming up saying, it was wonderful, honey, but the top note needed more emotion. And these sorts of reactions are now the norm. These sorts of reactions didn't occur before, but now they are the norm. And I think that the more you look out for this, the more you'll even catch yourself doing the same thing, especially if you've watched a lot of these sorts of programs. And that's because you have been conditioned to see a performance and immediately start judging it. And this is really stealing from you the ability to simply enjoy a performance, experience it, and connect with the performer. This is really, really damaging to the performing arts industry, because in order to properly deliver a performance, you need connection. And if you're not getting connection, you're really not fulfilling your job as a performer. But if there's this blockade there, which is preventing you from getting connection, which is judgment, then it's not going to work out. To further demonstrate this, film students are a fantastic example of this. When you watch movies growing up, you experience the movie, you go into the world, and many people continue to experience movies like an experience for the entire of their lives. However, if you speak to film students and people who have studied film, then you'll realize many of them tell you that they can't just watch a movie anymore. Now, when they watch a movie, they see all the workings behind the movie and they go into analysis mode, because that's what they're trained to do. They're learning to either be film critics or creators of films. So they have to understand these things, and really, they have to change their perspective on it. But for them, it means that they've lost the ability to simply experience the movie. This is kind of what's happening to the general public due to reality television talent competitions when it comes to musical performances. People shouldn't be there trying to judge a performer, they should be there trying to experience it. And especially even though they don't understand exactly what the workings behind the performance are, they feel this importance that they do because they've watched these shows and been imbued with this idea of what is good, what is bad, based off a very thin number of guidelines or whatever is popular at the time on the show, whatever the producers want to push, whatever it is in general. Maybe it's just the judge's opinion. Doesn't matter, but in general, it's ruining, again, this connection, and it's ruining the ability to experience the performance. This is detrimental to both the performers and the general public. This is not just detrimental, it's dangerous. It's genuinely dangerous. We need to stop conditioning people to judge performances. We need to start allowing them to experience performances, allowing them to connect with performances. We need to put the emphasis on that. And there are competitions out there, going back to what I said earlier, that are able to do this. There are many competitions I have entered where it's 100% clear that winning is not the end goal and is in fact slightly irrelevant. Many classical musicians who do competitions will tell you that they enter competitions not to win, but to be seen by an agent to get booked for future shows and things. And honestly, that's often what you're trying to do in competitions. You're trying to get better at performing and dealing with your nerves. And most of the Eisteddfods and competitions I've been to, they do not read out feedback to the audience. They do not tell the audience what to think of the performances. Sometimes they give you a sheet of paper afterwards that gives you their feedback of things to improve on according to them, and you can take it or leave it, but they're not there telling the audience what to think and how to watch a performance and how to digest it, and most importantly, judge it. And this is really where it goes wrong. If they want to have competitions on television, they really should be focusing on the performances. This won't get as good ratings or viewings, I get it. So they don't. But the end result is that the entire of society is having this experience stolen from them. This wonderful experience of connecting with performers, of feeling, of seeing stories come alive in your mind as you watch them perform. And that really, really does need to be addressed and stopped. If there is some way to go about this, I would just love for them to change their format or to cease to exist. Because really, as a performer, I am sick of people coming up to me when they're drunk being like, it's wonderful, but it needs more emotion in the high note, honey. Or having people come up to me and say, you know what real talent is? Let me look it up on the internet. Here, this is someone on Idol who this person said is really good, therefore they're good. That is not what it is. Every performance is an experience. Every performer is good or bad depending on who's watching and their own opinion of it. And that's exactly how it should be. Now, I hope I made some sense in this rant because this is a very sore topic for me and I do feel very passionately about it. But please, please, share this around. Get people to know the truth. Get people to stop. Get people to stop. The performers of the world will thank you. Because really, they're trying so dang hard to create an experience and a world for you. And they just want you to be able to feel it and to live it. Thank you for watching my vlog. I'm gonna go have some tea. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, I would love for you to hit down that subscribe button and also the bell notification button so you can be notified in future when I put up videos. Also, I'd love to do a massive shout out for everyone who is a part of Ninja Club. Your support and encouragement is absolutely invaluable. Thank you so very much. If you're a fan of what I do, I encourage you to check out Ninja Club. There is a link at the top of the description box. And have a wonderful rest of your day. You rock all the Lego blocks.